Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Blanky Speed here, and today we're back. We're going to be talking about Luna, specifically watching the Luna of Watson. He just played this match against Aurora Gaming and went 12-0, which is some crazy stuff. This hero has been popping off at TI as of late. It's above an 80% win rate, and it knocked Team Spirit into the lower bracket. I mean, this hero has been very impressive, and to be honest, I'm a little surprised it hasn't become more popular quicker. The reason why I say that is most of the hyper farmers in Dota, most of the heroes that flash farm really quickly cannot be active in the early game, or they're not the best. Couple of examples: Alchemist, at least until Radiance. Something like Naga Siren, until they have their timings, they don't really do anything. And usually that's a liability for your team, but with Luna, ever since they changed it where now Lunar Blessing, which is what gives Luna bonus damage, is an innate, you don't have to skill it. So basically you get bonus damage, it's a weakened version to be fair, but you get bonus damage and you get to skill Loosen Beam. So basically at level 6 you can have 3 points in Loosen Beam, or 2 depending on what skill build you want to go, we're going to cover that, and you can have Eclipse. So you can hit the gate, you can show up to early fights, or you can just AFK farm. You get to do whatever you want. Now, that does set a high skill ceiling for the hero, but if obviously you're a professional player, this is a very beneficial thing to have. Options. And so let's talk about why Luna is good right now, what makes this hero powerful or potentially powerful in the meta, and let's get into it. On top of that, go sign up to the gameleap website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. In the laning stage, this hero is not some elite laner. It's pretty average, it has decent stats, it's very fast, it has high armor, its damage is okay, especially as you level up, your Lunar Blessing starts to scale. And what's really cool is this Moonstorm that most people are taking. I've seen both, but basically Moonstorm makes it where when you use Loosen Beam, you get bonus damage. And since it's pretty cool because if you nuke the enemy or you nuke the range creep, you just get 5 damage, which is a lot to use for last hits and denies for 15 seconds. And what's really cool is it scales up all the way to 14 damage, which you can get pretty early into the game. Also, when you use Eclipse, you get 50% per Eclipse beam, so you can get, 6 beams in the early game? So half of 6 times 14 is like 42 damage, which is a ton. Basically, you can just get huge amounts of damage in the early game. That is part of what makes this hero be really active in the early game. So yeah, in the laning stage, guys, it's really simple. You just secure the range creep with your Q, you pull a lot of creep aggro, you're not really looking to trade with most offlaners until you have treads, or at least Wraithband, maybe 2 points in Loosen Beam, because it doubles in damage. And the bonus damage per beam from the facet gets a lot better going from 5 to 8. So this hero definitely scales well into the lane. It's pretty crazy. I played against the Luna, and I expected as the lane progressed, I was playing Windranger, to really be able to bully this guy out. But as his innate started to scale, the Lunar Blessing, I really felt that I couldn't fight him, especially considering you just kill the wave in like 2 seconds. So a couple of basic tips for the laning stage. Number 1, do not skill Moonglaze at level 2. It's just going to push the wave, and it doesn't do enough damage to the enemy to justify that. So just completely skip it until later on. Generally, what I've been seeing is that pros will skip it until level 4, or if they really feel like they want to push the wave at level 2 for some reason, maybe they need to shove it out because their support is pulling and they don't want to be far up in the wave. Maybe they feel like they need to farm a small camp for some reason. Basically, don't skill until level 4 in most games, and then when you hit level 4 and you start to have some damage, right? He built Wraithband into Band of Elvenskin. Once you have some damage here from your Q and these items, you can start to shove the wave hard and look to jungle afterwards. And so as we get into the later parts of level 3, he decides that he wants to shove in the wave, actually fights a little bit with Luna here, takes a pretty nice engagement, does a ton of damage. If he didn't run out of mana, I think he would have instantly killed both of them. Unfortunately, only ends up getting the snap, but still, like, you could see, this hero fights well, just because you can have beam now, and he ran out of mana. Like, this wouldn't have been even close for Aurora. Like, truly, it would not have been close as he's chunking this guy, because these beams are making him hit like a truck. I mean, after this beam and a little bit of damage from his innate, he's hitting for what, 98? Like, 4 minutes in. This is some Treant Protector levels of damage. Also, for his next items, he buys boots. An item I think is good on this hero is Raindrops, because you want to fight in the early game and you die kind of easily of a bad HP pool and you have a bad mana pool. So Raindrops are wonderful. Completing your wand is actually something that most people don't do. I've seen Mickey do this as well, where they don't upgrade the wand. They go for the treads, they'll buy a clarity, and then they'll go for the Mask of Madness, and then go back for the wand afterwards, which I'll get into. But yeah, he buys an extra set of tangos at minute 5, almost minute 6, buys a clarity, And now he's going to start to push out the wave. Looks like they want to get aggressive here. He's level 5. I mean, look how hard he's hitting here. Over 100. I mean, these autos are chunking, and this is what I'm talking about. And right here is the big difference between old Luna and current Luna. Old Luna would have damage and glaives, no points in beam. You're just not useful. Like, you don't have this facet, you don't have points in your queue, you can't do this type of play, you can't show up. So your mid is immediately limited to only ganking the opposite side of the map, and you are a sitting duck to smoke ganks. Now, he's putting pressure on the Mars. He's killed the Mars, almost killed the Mars twice. Killed him once, kicked him out of lane again. And then you farm the back camps. So basically you can make plays. If the game is hard, you don't feel good, maybe things went poorly for some reason, just farm the back camps. So you have options, and this is what I'm talking about. No matter how the game is going, you can do great things. You can farm all the shit camps behind you, or you can get active and help to go for kills. Notice here, he's got Eclipse. I would like to see him maybe buy an extra Clarity, because yeah, it costs a lot of mana to use these abilities. Especially if you want to get active, and especially if you want to hit the gate. Also, he took Spark of Courage. A lot of people are taking Seeds of Serenity if they get it, and the reason why is because it just lets you dead lane. Basically, it gives you enough HP and HP regen previous to Mask of Madness, where you can just sit in the lane and like tank ganks and get off Eclipse and get off beams, right? So instead of just playing an AFK version of Jungle Luna, you can actually look to play up, defend your tower if you get Seeds of Serenity and you have a point in Eclipse. And so yeah, he is farming the back jungle a little bit. He's looking to get active. He wanted to hit gate, like right here, just to go back quickly. He wanted to hit gate right here, but the Treant scouted him. So he decides, okay, I'm not going to do it because they probably see it coming, which is why this guy is high rank. You know, he's able to quickly be like, okay, they might TP on me. This is not safe. They might see it coming. It kind of turned out where like, maybe he should have been there because this huge fight breaks out. Very large defense of the tower. And you want to be at these fights. Like, gating on this hero is so good now. Because you just have this massive nuke and Eclipse, you know? You're hyper useful as he unfortunately watches his team die here. But yeah, you want to be at those fights. So once you have maxed out Q and ult, you should TP into stuff. Talking about TPing into stuff, here we go. Enemy team is invading stacks. They obviously don't want to give this away for free. Looky here. TP in from the Luna, Eclipse on the mid Earthshaker. And then what? What? Like, hello? Why is he hitting for 200? Like, this old Luna would never even come close to killing that snap. And that's not an over-exaggeration, not even close. And this is why I feel that this hero is genuinely broken. It's not the best laner, but it's fine. It's pretty good. It's like, okay, it's definitely above average, not by a lot. And then you can show up to these engagements and be one of the strongest carries in the game. And oh, the fight's over? Okay, I'm gonna farm 800 GPM by auto attack with the Mask of Madness. Also keep in mind, if you really want to fight early game, what a lot of people do is they go Dragonlance first. That's the ultimate fighting item. But a couple of Lunas that I've been watching, I've seen a mix this tournament, so there's definitely a mix, but seems like Mask is a bit more popular just so you can really farm the jungle quick and have that sustained. So both are good, honestly. Also, another weird thing that you're going to start seeing is that he's going to leave the lunar orbit at level 1. If you don't know what this ability is, it spins glaives around you and they deal damage if they hit people. If you take the other facet, it gives you damage reduction. But people either leave it at level 1 or skip it completely. I'm of the mentality you should just skip it completely if you're going to leave it at level 1. Yes, I get the idea of leaving it at level 1. It goes from 20% collision damage to like 25, so the next point is only a 5% increase. Obviously not that impressive, but I feel like if you're going to take 1 point, might as well max this shit out. It's not like it scales that bad. It goes down in cooldown by a ton. It most importantly goes up in duration, so it doesn't last for only 5 seconds. And the collision damage increase is pretty significant. Plus, you can eventually get your shard, and then it actually becomes a pretty good spell. It increases the collision damage, and it rotates 50% faster. So I kind of think that the mentality here might be a little off. I do believe that the shard plus max W is probably better than just skilling stats. And honestly, I think if you're just going to not take the W, if you're going to leave it at level 1, I would just not take it at all and take 4 points in stats instead of the 3. That's how I look at it. But yeah, teamfight breaks out here. And this is why Luna is so good here, right? Eclipse comes out. Look at this. Huge damage on the Mars. Nearly solo kills the Mars. He barely gets out. Easily helps kill the Shaker. He's hitting for 250 at minute 14. More actually now. And yeah, the team fight's just a wrap. I mean, crazy. He's carrying these early fights. And you can't say he's not. Like, he killed the Shaker on the high ground defense. He nearly killed Mars there. He did half of Shaker's health in that fight. Like, he's just wiping this game, and that's why this hero's win rate's not that impressive, and it's honestly shocking to me. I don't know if it's a skill issue, like the win rate is a skill issue, because it just seems, I think it's a scaling issue, because the late game of this hero, it's not bad, but it's not like the best. It's gonna be hard to outcarry stuff like PA, but you're not supposed to get to that point. So a couple things for talents at level 10, you take Moonglave's reduction, then people take Lucent Beam damage. I kind of like the idea of Eclipse cooldown, honestly. I'm a little surprised none of the Lunas take it. It's a huge cooldown talent. And I feel like Eclipse is like a good spell now. And like, you can fight a lot if you take this cooldown. So, I don't know, but obviously Lucent Beam damage makes Eclipse better, and it makes you better. It's tough. I think both are equally as good in my opinion. At level 20, you take Moonglave's fired on Lucent Beam, and at level 25, you take Lucent Beam hits an additional target. These are both really good. Like, if you hit 25 on this hero, your Lucent Beams just go nuts. Okay, so most of the mid game is hitting like a ton of Ancients, guys. Once it hits the mid game, you should just be farming Ancients every single minute, basically, outside of when you're going to take Roche and take a team fight. You should be wiping through Ancients and then the nearby creep waves. That should be your rotation. It's kill the Ancients, kill the nearby wave. Push out the next wave, it's safe. If you have Manta, which you should be buying, the item build is Mask of Madness, Dragonlance into Manta, into BKB. After that, you have some options. You can go Pike, if you need some mobility, you want to stick on people with Eclipse. Or you can go Conda, which is the higher damage DPS build, which is what I recommend. So after the BKB, you go Conda. Don't skip BKB, guys. Some games, it's obviously fine if they have like very little control, but please don't skip it in 90% of games. Just buy BKB so you can click it when you use Eclipse and hit all the beams and use the bonus damage that Eclipse gives you with the facet. It's so stupid to skip it. Right here, Eclipse BKB, it's on a BKB'd Mars and he's destroying the guy. He's hitting for 300 here, and you really want to use this window. They take out the snap, who he isolated, and, you know, gets overgrowth here or whatever. He did his job. He isolated the snap, forced the Mars BKB, tanked the initiation. I mean, insanely good gameplay. Easy peasy. And once you hit level 20, this is when the hero becomes like an insane burst damage hero, because not only do you have Conda at this point, which obviously makes your Lucent Beam do a ton of damage, because it does damage based on your damage, so it's crazy. It gives you a crit, which is really nice, but most importantly, you now have 2 Moonglaves fired on Lucent Beam. So your Lucent Beam just does nuts damage, because every time you Q someone, it's an extra 2 auto attacks, which is a ton, right? Look at this. It's like half his health, holy. Like, I'm not kidding, it's like a half his health there. All right, and this is the game-ending team fight we're gonna look at here. Notice his W is still level 1. He is taking stats, which I kind of don't get, honestly. Like, whatever. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Team fight breaks out. You're just gonna Q the first person you see. Forces the BKB, kiting. This is really good kiting. Gets initiated on. I mean, this looked a little scary. Gets healed. Like, this was a bit sus, honestly. I thought there... Whoa, what just healed him? Damn, that was so much healing. What the heck? Okay, either way, fight continues on, and every single Q is just going to deal some nasty amount of damage. What's really cool is that the Conda cooldown is 6, and the beam cooldown is 6, and so every single beam will have a Conda hit. I mean, it's... like, I don't know, this hero just makes so much sense. Obviously, it used to be... not even better, it used to be where you could take Lucent Beam cooldown and also get Moonglaves fired because they were on different talent trees. But, I don't know, I feel like it kind of doesn't matter. Or, I mean, it matters, but it matters less because now the Lucent Beam just naturally lines up with Conda, which is so practical. Like, it just makes so much sense. By the way, I just want to show at the end of this fight, like, look at this beam. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!